What's going on, everybody? Adam Mercer with the God in Kentucky podcast, talking all things God, family, faith, and of course, Kentucky. And being Labor Day weekend, big start to the college football season. Home openers for Kentucky, for Louisville, for WKU. And of course, we're going to spend most of the time talking about UK. It was a interesting performance. Win is a win. I will never belittle a Kentucky win. I had one of my buddies at church today. He said, well, Kentucky pulled it through. It's like, hey, I've seen a ton of losses, and I will never take a win for granted. So I would rather win ugly than lose pretty. As Ebby Calvin LaLoosh on Bull Durham said, I love winning. It's so much better than losing. So it was good to get a win. We are undefeated, 1-0, and half the teams in college football can't say that. So good to get an opening win, especially after a lot of the national experts. They had this as their upset pick of the week. Had Toledo as a trendy pick over Kentucky, and to be able to come out and with the W, that's all you can ask for. So we will talk about. We'll start with the negative, and that was obviously Kentucky's offense. Um, Calzada just never seemed like he got in a groove. He did have some good balls that I don't think he got credit for. That opening drive, the long pass to Hester that was eventually overturned. Is it my bias? I thought it was a catch on all the reviews, but it is what it is. The ball to Willie Rodriguez that Rodriguez was setting up. It was looking like they're going to be in the red zone, and Rodriguez fumbles on the tackle. Those things happen. That's just kind of what football is. Um, I had another ball that he threw, I think, towards the back of the end zone. Ended up being a pass interference, but it was a good throw ball. But you can't play a non-power five and come away with less than 100 yards of passing offense. That's not going to get done. I was happy to see them utilize the tight ends, but that seemed to be their only weapon in the passing game. None of the other receivers. Was it a matter of them not getting open? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and break down film. Um, that's not what I do. This is just for fun. So, follow your guys, Van Hals and your Justin Rollins, your Adam Luckett's for the breakdown of game film. They'll be able to tell you a lot better. Um, but yeah, just disappointing from the Kentucky offense. You really, 10 points at halftime and a lot of your own mistakes. Um, the Obviously the safety was clearly on Calzada. He should have handed off that ball, and it looked like it would have been a decent gain. But that is what it is. Um, I felt like they left a lot of points on the board again with those the overturn catch on the first possession, the Rodriguez fumble. I thought there was more there that they could have had a decent sized lead, and I never felt like Kentucky was in jeopardy in this game, even though it stayed close. Um, and that's because of how well the defense played. Offense has to figure out going into next week how to get it together because you're playing an Ole Miss team that Lane Kiffin, they put up a lot of points. I have confidence in UK's defense to slow them down, but can the offense generate enough points to match? So that's going to be a work in progress and interesting to see. I know they probably kept the playbook, bare minimum because they didn't want to show Ole Miss their hand. But if you're until that Dowdell long touchdown, Kentucky was going at like 3 yards a carry, which against that again non-power four team, that's concerning. And again, looking at the offensive line, they seem to be better than last year, but again, it looked better in pass protection. The run protection just didn't seem to be there. Our running backs also didn't break many tackles. So we'll see how things are fixed during this week going into the Ole Miss game. Um, And I would love to, the guys I mentioned that will break down film, I'd love to see what they have to say because it seemed like the right side of the offensive line still had some issues. Um, Left side, she has Pete and Josh Braun. That looked good to me just from first glance and first looking at it. Jagger Burton did a great job. We didn't have any snap issues, knock on wood. So, and again, it's just none of these guys have played. We have three, Macklin and Jalen Farmer, Jagger Burton are the only returners from last year's offense. Everybody else is new and new to the program. So, trying to figure out the continuity and being able to trust each other and lean on each other, be able to predict each other's moves. That's going to come in time. It's not going to be there the first game. So I'll give them a little bit of leniency for that. But again, you have to have more than I think it was 80 yards passing. You're gonna have to do better than that. Have to do better than 3 yards average per carry. Take care of the ball. Kentucky wasn't penalized, although uh, that very first play where you have a decent run and then you called for holding. It's like, oh, here we go again. Flashback to last year, but Kentucky wasn't penalized very often in this game, so that was encouraging to see. Hopefully, be a little bit more disciplined. Moving on to the positive of the game, I mean, how can you not praise the defense? Toledo had 2 points most of the game, and those 2 points were on the offense for the mistake with the safety. Alex Safari was an absolute beast. Um, we have a new nickname on the team, Sackham Souls, Steven Souls, uh, with 2 sacks on the game. The defensive line looks much improved from last year. And again, I know it's against Toledo, but still, you can see the potential there. And it was a lot of different guys. Kentucky had multiple people pressuring the quarterback and making plays at the line of scrimmage. So that's encouraging because that makes the opposing offensive line have to work that much harder. If you've got multiple people that they have to pick up and um, uh, you're causing havoc. And really, that first interception was because of Sam Green putting pressure on the quarterback and J.Q. Hardaway making a great interception. And I'm really not. I know they gave up. What did he had like 270 yards passing. Toledo's quarterback did. That's not great, but I think a lot of those were just Kentucky not wanting them to get over the top and playing everybody in front of them. So they racked up some yards, but I do still have a lot of faith in Kentucky's secondary. And of course, linebacker Alex Safari stepping up with 13 tackles in the first game. That's huge. We'll see how he does against bigger, more physical teams. We'll see how he does against Ole Miss. But I couldn't be more pleased with the Kentucky defense. And I will say, I forgot to mention a point on the offense. Kentucky did great in third downs, which was, they were one of the worst teams in the country last year converting on third down. So being able to extend drives is a very big, very big component, especially if your offense isn't that good. You have to extend drives to give your defense more time off the field. If your defense is going to be the strength, they've got to be rested and be able to go out there and perform at the top level. So being able to convert on third down, crucial for the offense. That was actually a huge positive to see. But back to the defense, them stopping what I think they stopped four, or no, I'm sorry, three fourth down conversions. That's huge, and especially one at the goal line. This looks like a nostalgic what we expect from a Mark Stoops and Brad White defense. So that was very encouraging to see. Don't have a lot of worries about what the defense is going to be going forward. The special teams, Cowways makes all his kicks. Nothing to complain about there. And Laros, his punting was great, but the Laros had a key after that safety, booting the ball down to the goal line just like a normal kickoff, and not letting Toledo, start out at midfield or anything like that. That was a key point in the game. That could have really snowballed into something bad for Kentucky, but Handling the adversity of the safety, have Laros kick it all the way down there and get a decent stop. That prevented things from getting out of hand. So um, all in all, I think defense, special team. We did Ty Bryant, bobbled a punt. He also let one go that I think took another 20 yards. Again, just if you're going to have this type of team where defense, running game, and field management, clock management is what you're going to try to win with, you can't you can't let a punt bounce and then take another 20-yard tumble um, for the opposing team. Those hidden yards are going to be key going forward. So all in all, like I said at the beginning, good to get a win. Um, Also, just great weekend for football, right? You step outside, it feels like fall. Um, Feels like fall today. Just actually doing this outside here at Katawa on Lake Barkley, and it's just a great day for some football. I can't wait for next weekend. Um, so Kentucky will go, or they'll play against Ole Miss. Ole Miss opened as a 9.5 point favorite. It's already been bet up to 10.5. So all the money is going towards Ole Miss, but you never know. We'll see what happens. That's why you play the game. And I do think Kentucky needs to take a big step forward on offense, but if that happens, then you never know. Also interesting, Western Kentucky will play Toledo, so we'll get to see kind of how both teams react to each other. Western coming off a nice win over Sam Houston as they had over 400 yards of offense. Um, first name is Maverick. Maverick MacGyver. Like, what a name for a college football player. Maverick. That's got to be like the top name list in college football. Um, Also, Lavelle Wright, former Kentucky running back, getting in a touchdown for the Hilltoppers. So they got off to a good start. U of L, even though my feelings about U of L, they looked impressive, over 500 yards of offense, and that they could have been a heck of a lot worse. Um, but they were up like 40-7 at halftime. They throw three interceptions, and Eastern had no turnovers or no interceptions. And U of L also had over 100 penalty yards, and you still win by that margin. That shows you how much they have to improve on or can improve on. So that was a impressive win for the Cardinals, even though it pains me to say, but give credit to where it's due. Um, so we'll see what happens. Excited to get a win, and we've got some exciting podcasts coming up this week. So stay tuned, and we will see you all shortly. Go Cats.